Hey, have you ever bolted awake at 3 a.m., lying there in the pitch black, staring at the ceiling, thinking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just sleep like I used to? You're not alone, folks. It's practically a senior rite of passage. And guess what? It's not some random quirk or just old age creeping in. In this video, we're diving into 7 jaw-dropping reasons why so many of us seniors, especially here in the good old USA, keep popping up at 3 a.m. and what those sneaky wake-ups are screaming about your body, your health, and even your heart. By the end, you'll look at those midnight moments in a whole new way. I promise. We're not messing around with fluffy guesses here. This is the real deal. Hormones going haywire, sleep clocks acting like it's Thanksgiving morning, health curveballs, and even those quiet feelings you don't talk about at the bingo hall. We're peeling it all back, American senior style. Honest, fun, and with a big dose of respect for every year you've rocked this life. So if 3 a.m.'s been your unwanted alarm clock lately, you're in the perfect spot. Stick with me to the end, because this isn't just about sleeping better. It's about getting you from head to toe like never before. Let's roll. Have you ever noticed how many older folks wake up smack in the middle of the night, often right around 3 a.m., and just can't drift back to sleep? One of the biggest reasons behind this is something super clear: the natural drop in melatonin production that sneaks up as we age. Melatonin's that hormone that keeps your sleep-wake cycle on track. Think of it as your body's own internal clock. It's the key player in helping you nod off and stay in that peaceful slumber. When you were younger, your body churned out a nice, steady stream of melatonin every night, giving you those long stretches of deep, unbroken rest we all dream about. But as the years pile on, your body starts cutting back on it, and that change really shakes up how well you sleep. You might still doze off just fine at bedtime, especially after a busy day or a calm evening. But come those early morning hours like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or even 4 a.m., your melatonin levels can dip so low that they can't hold you in that restful zone anymore. Suddenly you're awake, not from a loud noise or a weird dream, but because your brain's gently sliding back toward being alert, all because there's not enough melatonin to keep you under. This isn't something you're messing up, and it's not your body breaking down. It's just your internal chemistry shifting with age. Plain and simple. Now here's the kicker. Your bedroom setup can make this even tougher. Even tiny bits of light, like that street lamp glowing outside your window, the flashing clock on your nightstand, or a sliver of light sneaking under the door from the hallway, can zap your melatonin levels even more. As you get older, your body gets extra sensitive to these little triggers, and that can turn a 3 a.m. wake-up into something way more aggravating than it needs to be. Take Harold, for example. He's 72 now, and always prided himself on being a solid sleeper. But these days, he's up around 3:15 a.m. most nights, wide awake, not stressed or bothered, just alert like it's time to start the day. At first, he wondered if he was doing something wrong, but once he learned this was tied to melatonin and just a normal part of getting older, he quit blaming himself and started making changes. He's keeping his room pitch dark now, steering clear of screens an hour before bed, and taking a short evening walk to boost his natural rhythm. Those small tweaks tell his body it's still nighttime, and while he might still wake up early sometimes, he's figured out how to roll with it instead of pushing against it. That's the magic of knowing what's up. When you realize these early wake-ups aren't your fault, but just a chemical shift, you can take steps to help your sleep instead of getting mad at your body. That's the power of understanding. It swaps out frustration for kindness and guides you to smarter choices for taking care of yourself at night. Another big reason so many older adults find themselves awake around 3 a.m. ties back to a natural change in the body's internal clock, something called advanced sleep phase. As we get older, our circadian rhythms start shifting forward, which means you might feel drowsy earlier in the evening and wake up earlier in the morning. Maybe you've caught yourself dozing off during a late-night show or popping awake at sunrise without an alarm, even when you'd love to snooze longer. This isn't just a random habit you've picked up. It's rooted deep in your biology, and it tends to get stronger as the years go by. When you were younger, your body's rhythm usually lined up with a later bedtime and a wake-up time that matched the daylight a bit more naturally. But as this rhythm moves ahead, your sleep window slides forward too. You might crash by 9 p.m. or even earlier without meaning to, and by the time 3 a.m. hits, your body's already finished its full rest cycle. That's why you could be lying there, wide awake in the dead of night, feeling like you've slept enough, even though it's still dark as can be outside. This doesn't mean anything's broken or off with you. It's just your body running on a new timetable now. Picture it like a clock that's slowly been wound forward over time, ticking a bit earlier with each passing year. It's not harmful, but it can feel maddening if your daily life, family schedule, or personal habits don't quite match this new pattern. There's also a subtle mental side to this shift. Lots of older folks live in calmer homes or spend more time by themselves, and that quiet vibe can crank up the body's signals to wind down sooner in the day. Without all the hustle and bustle or noise that used to push bedtime back, your system kicks into its nightly shutdown mode way earlier. And if you're not working a full-time job anymore, or sticking to a set routine, the absence of outside cues, like appointments, drives, or get-togethers, can make this internal change even more noticeable. Take Charles, for instance. He's 68 and retired. He usually has dinner around 5:30 p.m., watches a bit of TV for an hour, then heads to bed. By 9 p.m., he's out cold, and by 3 a.m., his body's naturally ready to rise. He's not worried or restless, just awake, like it's go time. At first, he figured it was insomnia messing with him, but once he heard about advanced sleep phase, it clicked. His sleep wasn't busted, it was just rescheduled. So Charles started tweaking his evenings to stay up a little later, reading a book under a soft lamp, taking a short walk after supper, or giving his daughter a quick call before hitting the hay. These little social and sensory nudges stretch his sleep window just enough to push his wake-up closer to dawn. The payoff? Fewer 3 a.m. wake-ups and a better fit with his day-to-day life. This natural drift in sleep cycles is something tons of older adults go through, though not many chat about it. Getting a handle on it can lift away a lot of guilt or confusion and give you a kinder way to team up with your body instead of battling it. So if you're up at 3 a.m. feeling like you've gotten a full night's rest, your body might just be on an earlier track now. Once you see that, you can start adjusting your routine to boost your well-being. If you're still here and finding this helpful, drop a number 2 in the comments to let me know you're with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd suggest hitting that button and turning on the bell so you don't miss out. Your support keeps us making solid content to inform and uplift you. Let's keep going. Another frequent reason older adults wake up around 3 a.m. is how the body reacts to physical discomfort or hidden health issues that pop up in the still hours of the night. As we age, the odds of facing chronic conditions or small health hiccups go up, and many of these have a sneaky way of breaking into your sleep without making a big fuss. They slip in quietly, maybe a stiff joint, a full bladder, or a quick pang in your back. And that's often all it takes to pull you out of a calm rest right in the middle of the night. Take arthritis, for instance. It can turn lying still in one spot for hours into something uneasy. You might not feel it when you first drift off, but after a few hours of staying put, those aches can stack up enough to jostle you awake. For some, nighttime acid reflux might be the culprit, especially if dinner was too close to bedtime or you laid back too soon after eating. Even little things that seem minor, like a dry throat, a muscle cramp, or a slight shift in room temperature, can spark a gentle wake-up in those early morning hours when your body's guard is more tender and less lenient than it once was. One of the top physical reasons older men find themselves up at 3 a.m. is the need to use the bathroom. As we get older, the bladder loses some of its stretch, and the urge to go can hit faster and more often. You might not notice it much during the day when you're busy and distracted, but at 3 a.m., in a hushed, dark room, that feeling becomes hard to brush off. Once you get up and shuffle to the bathroom, even just for a moment, your body might shift from deep sleep to a lighter awareness, making it trickier to slip back into rest. Then there's the matter of medications, which lots of older folks take regularly for things like blood pressure, heart conditions, or pain relief. These meds can bring side effects. Think more frequent bathroom trips, shifts in body temperature, or a heightened reaction to sounds or light that quietly meddle with your sleep. You might not even connect the dots between your pills and your sleep habits until someone mentions it or you start paying closer attention. Consider Eleanor, a 76-year-old woman who's always been a fairly light sleeper. Over the last year, she began waking up regularly around 3:30 a.m. For months, she chalked it up to getting older, but then she talked to her doctor and found out one of her medications was messing with her hydration, sending her to the bathroom more at night. With her doctor's guidance, she tweaked the timing of her dose, made a couple of small lifestyle adjustments, and now she wakes up less often and falls back asleep more smoothly when she does. The key thing to hold on to here is that these physical wake-ups don't mean your body's letting you down. They're proof it's still at work, responding, signaling, adapting. These cues can point you toward better self-care, smarter decisions, and a stronger trust in your own instincts. Waking up at 3 a.m. might seem like a hassle, but it can also be a soft prompt to listen closer, check in, and make tiny tweaks that boost your health and bring deeper rest. If this is hitting home for you, please drop a number 3 in the comments to let me know you're here. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Your likes and shares keep us going, and if you're feeling extra generous, consider supporting us through Super Thanks. It's a sweet way to help us keep bringing you content that informs and lifts you up. Now let's move on. Another strong yet often unnoticed reason older adults end up awake at 3 a.m. comes from everyday habits. Those small routines and choices that, over time, silently tweak your internal rhythm. Many older folks naturally start eating dinner earlier, winding down sooner in the evening, and moving less during the day. These little shifts might seem harmless, but they pile up and tell your body that night should kick off earlier, which naturally nudges your wake-up time forward too. When your days get quieter, especially after retirement, your body stops getting the same external signals it once depended on, like driving to work, tackling chores, or diving into tasks that keep your mind and body busy. Without those prompts, your sleep-wake cycle can start drifting ahead. A peaceful, dimly lit evening with hardly any activity can trick your brain into pumping out melatonin sooner, pulling you towards sleep before you even notice it's 9 p.m. And once you're out earlier, your body wraps up its rest cycle quicker, leaving you awake in those hushed pre-dawn hours, often right around 3 a.m. There's also a quiet link between meal timing and how well you sleep. Eating dinner early might be good for you overall, but it can sometimes cause your blood sugar to drop overnight, especially if you skip a small snack before bed. That drop might not scream hunger, but it's enough to stir your body awake. Likewise, caffeine you sipped even in the early afternoon can hang around in your system longer as your metabolism slows with age, subtly thinning your sleep and leaving you more prone to waking at the slightest disturbance. Take Walter, for example. He's 74 and freshly retired. These changes snuck up on him bit by bit. His days lost their old structure, and his evenings turned more laid back. He'd eat supper at 5 p.m., doze off in his armchair during the nightly news, and hit the sack before 9 p.m. most nights. Before he knew it, his whole schedule had slid forward a few hours. Soon enough, he was waking up at 3 a.m., baffled by why he was alert before the birds even chirped. After thinking it over, Walter started making small changes, taking a brief afternoon walk, reading under a brighter lamp in the evening, and skipping naps after dinner. Those tweaks gently stretched his natural sleep window, letting his body ease into a pattern that better matched his preferred wake-up time. What's striking is how easily we miss the influence of routine. Our bodies thrive on rhythm, daily habits that act like cues, telling the brain when to rest and when to get going. When those cues fade or shift, the internal clock can lose its way, leading to earlier, choppier sleep. But by spotting these patterns and making careful adjustments, you can steer your body back to a sleep cycle that feels more refreshing and less broken. If this is ringing true for you, please leave a number 4 in the comments to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love for you to hit that button and turn on the bell so you catch every video. Your likes and shares mean the world, is a great way to help us keep delivering content that informs and inspires you. Let's keep rolling. Sometimes waking up at 3 a.m. isn't really about your body, it's more about what's stirring in your mind. As we get older, emotional layers that once stayed hidden beneath the rush of daily life can begin to rise up in the quiet of the night. Those early morning hours, when everything's still and distractions are scarce, often become the time when unspoken worries, regrets, or longings start to move. You might find yourself lying there, not roused by sound or ache, but because your thoughts are softly sorting through past moments, unresolved ideas, or gentle anxieties you didn't know were still lingering. This kind of restlessness isn't the sharp anxiety you might have known in younger days. It's calmer, more introspective, like a faint buzz in the background, a sense that something's unsettled even if you can't quite put a finger on it. When your mind isn't occupied, it often drifts back to old friendships, decisions made, losses you faced, or words you left unspoken. And since your days aren't filled with running from one duty to the next anymore, there's space for those thoughts to resonate a little stronger. It's also worth considering that loneliness can play a part here. For many older adults, social circles shrink as time passes. Children move away, friends get busy, and routines shift. The daytime might be full of light and tasks, but night brings calm, and with it, an awareness of that emotional void. This loneliness doesn't always weigh heavy. It might just show up as a quiet craving for connection or a soft ache for someone to share a word with when the house is silent. Take Margaret, for example. She's 80 and widowed. During the day, she keeps herself going by tending her flower beds, calling her grandchildren, or watching her favorite shows. But around 3 a.m., she often wakes up, her mind slipping back to memories with her late husband or concerns she keeps tucked away in the daylight. At first, she thought her sleep was the issue, but over time, she realized it wasn't about sleep at all. It was her heart seeking attention. To help herself, Margaret started keeping a small journal by her bedside. When she wakes, she sometimes scribbles down what's on her mind. Nothing elaborate, just a few true thoughts. She also began a simple evening routine, like listening to gentle music or jotting a quick note to a friend. These small acts of reflection and outreach give her emotions a soft place to land, soothing her mind and helping her slip back to sleep more easily. The truth is, the heart doesn't run on a set schedule. It recalls what it chooses, asks what it needs, and sometimes picks 3 a.m. when all else is hushed to do so. That's not a weakness. It's a sign of richness. If you wake up feeling thoughtful, it might mean you're carrying wisdom waiting to be noticed. You've lived through joys and sorrows, and those experiences mold not just your memories, but your very sense of self. Rather than treating these wake-ups as something to correct, try meeting them with curiosity and gentleness. What's your mind hinting at? What needs to be expressed? What part of you could use a touch of care, even in the quiet dark? Sometimes the deepest rest doesn't come from brushing these moments off, but from welcoming them. In doing so, you might not only find better sleep, but also a fuller understanding of yourself at this stage of life. If this strikes a chord with you, please leave a number 5 in the comments to let me know you're here. Hit subscribe and the bell if you haven't yet. Your support keeps us going. And if you're feeling generous, a super thanks would mean a lot to help us keep creating content that informs and inspires. Let's move on. Sometimes waking up at 3 a.m. isn't about your body at all. It's your brain keeping things lively. As we age, if our days don't challenge our minds enough, the brain can get a bit restless, especially during lighter sleep stages. Without enough mental stimulation, like solving problems or chatting with friends, it might decide to kick into gear in the middle of the night, replaying old memories or spinning random thoughts. You might wake up not because of discomfort, but because your mind's busy mulling over something from years ago or piecing together a puzzle you didn't even know you were working on. This isn't a serious issue, it's just your brain looking for something to do when the house is quiet. Take Henry, for example. He's 71 and retired. He used to wake up at 3 a.m., his mind racing about a fishing trip from decades back. At first he thought it was odd, but he realized his days had gotten too routine, leaving his brain bored. To settle it down, he started doing a daily crossword from the newspaper and playing a card game with his neighbor in the afternoons. These little mental workouts tire his mind out just enough, so it's less likely to throw a late-night party. If this sounds familiar, try adding a small brain teaser or a good book to your day. It could keep your mind from wandering when you'd rather be asleep. Another reason you might wake up at 3 a.m. could be hiding in your medicine cabinet. Many older adults take regular medications for blood pressure, heart health, or pain, and some of these can quietly interfere with sleep. Side effects like needing to use the bathroom more, feeling too warm or cold, or even a slight restlessness can sneak up in the night, pulling you out of rest. It's not always obvious, since these effects might not bother you much during the day, but at 3 a.m., when everything's still, they can be just enough to wake you up. You might not even tie it to your pills until you look closer. Consider Ruth, for instance. She's 66 and on a blood pressure med. She started waking up at 3 a.m., feeling the urge to get up and move. For a while, she blamed it on age, but then she talked to her doctor and learned her medication was drying her out a bit, nudging her bladder at night. With a small tweak, shifting her dose to the morning, she cut those wake-ups down and sleeps more soundly now. If this feels familiar, check your pill schedule with your doctor. A simple change in timing could keep your meds from playing tricks on your sleep. As we close out this video, take a gentle moment to think back on what you've just heard. What struck a chord with you most? Was it the way your internal clock has shifted, the quiet changes in your health, or maybe something richer, an emotional pulse that only emerges when the world goes still? Each of these 7 reasons gives you a fresh angle to view those early morning wake-ups, and not one of them suggests something's wrong or faulty with you. In fact, they all show how actively your body and mind are still at play, still reacting, still adjusting as you journey through this chapter of life. There's a subtle strength in grasping what your body's trying to tell you, especially in those tender hours before the sun rises. Instead of brushing off those 3 a.m. moments as annoyances, you might start seeing them as whispers, soft hints urging you to tune in a bit closer to your needs, your routines, and your heart. You're not the only one going through this, and you're definitely not alone in seeking answers. But with understanding comes power, and with that power comes the ability to make small, meaningful shifts that bring better sleep, deeper ease, and a truer tie to your own natural flow. If any of these reasons rang true for you today, remember this. You're not just getting older, you're growing, evolving. And with that growth comes the opportunity to rest more purposefully, to tend to yourself with more care, and to meet each morning with a little extra clarity and calm. Thanks for spending this time with us today. We'd really love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and tell us one thing you picked up from this video and how you might weave it into your life. Your input matters to us, so don't hold back. Sharing your ideas fuels our drive and keeps us inspired. If you found this video helpful and enjoyed it, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and share it with someone who might need it. Your support powers us to keep crafting content that informs and uplifts you. And if you're feeling extra kind, consider leaving a super thanks. It's a wonderful way to help us keep this going. Thanks for watching, and we can't wait to see you in the next one.